Hi, my name is Ginger Annis, Veteran Service Officer for Alexander County. Did you know there are approximately 850 World War II servicemen and women passing away each day? Each of these service personnel have a story about friendships, families, experiences, and achievements. The Veterans Service Office, in cooperation with the Alexander County Government Channel, will be hosting, in a series, several short stories shared by these courageous veterans. So sit back and enjoy our history, our heroes. Alexander County Veteran Service Officer, and I'm joined today by Eugene Cline, who is a veteran of World War II. Eugene, would you just tell us a little bit about yourself?
Well, I was born May the 8th, 1919, and went to service the 26th of January of 42. And went to Fort Bragg and took basic training, and then I was transferred to Fort Jackson, joined the 77th Division, and was there a couple of weeks and took tests, and then I started driving a truck, a service battery, hauling supplies and garbage and all the works. But we stayed at Fort Jackson, went to Fort Sill, Oklahoma, and took artillery training, come back to Fort Jackson, and we took different types of training there. My brother come in at and I got to meet him there, and he went into service and took basic training and shipped him straight overseas. And then he was wounded, and when they got over that, he went back into battle and got into crossfire. They killed him.
Oh, mercy. Which branch of service was you in?
Infantry.
Was that Army?
Yeah. I believe it was 133rd Infantry, I believe it was.
Were you drafted or did you volunteer?
Drafted.
Drafted?
I didn't try to get in, I did try to stay out.
Okay. Before you went into the military, what was your occupation?
Boarded socks, hosier mill.
Okay. Were you married before you went into the military?
No.
Did you get married while you were in?
No, I didn't.
Okay.
I was afraid I didn't want to get married. Just so many was untrue to their husbands. So we was out a while before I got married.
What was the highest rank that you attained?
Technician, 5th grade.
Okay. And you said some of the bases that you were stationed at, you said Fort Sill, Oklahoma, and Fort Bragg. Where were some others?
Was Fort Jackson, and then we went into maneuvers out in Louisiana in the swamp, and maneuvered over in Texas and up in Louisiana, and we went from there to Hyder, Arizona, in the desert. That's where I lost my hair, or the beginning of it, because I had lots of black hair before I went in, and now I don't have any.
So you can say the military took your hair.
Well, it had its share in it. Was 6 months in the desert there with the old steel helmets. Maybe go down to the motor pool in the afternoon at 2 o'clock and temperature on the truck would be 140 degrees.
Oh, mercy.
And
Did you make any friends while you were in the service?
yeah, I had several friends.
Do you still stay in touch with them?
I don't know if any of them's living.
Okay.
The only one living that went in with me was Lloyd Keever.
Mm-hmm.
He lives here in Stony Point,
Mm-hmm.
or he'd not, but he's 95 now, but I don't think his mind's good anymore.
Mm-hmm. Do you remember any of your superior officers, and if so, why?
Well, I think it was Edwin Hood when I went to Fort Jackson, and I was there a couple of weeks and got driver's permit, and I drove him into Columbia one evening or night. He put me in a hotel, feather bed, and all the works. But it's just been this and that.
Mm-hmm. Can you relate any skirmishes or battles that you were in when you were overseas? And, well, where were you stationed when you were overseas?
Well, we went to Honolulu. Was there 3 months palletizing material and getting ready.
Mm-hmm.
And we went to Guam. And after the island was secured there, we started to New Caledonia.
Mm-hmm.
Got about a day out, and the 81st Division got sick, and we turned around and come back to Leyte.
Mm-hmm.
And when it was Leyte, December the 7th, 707, the 77th Division
Mm-hmm.
made a beachhead in Ormoc Valley. And the biggest fireworks I ever seen in my life was there, because the Japs was trying to land supplies in there, and
Mm-hmm.
their anti-aircraft was firing on them.
Were you in any skirmishes or battle? Was your unit in any skirmishes or battles?
We was in Guam, and then was in at Leyte there in Ormoc Valley.
Mm-hmm.
And then when we left there, we went to Okinawa, and we went in before the battle. Our troops would go ashore and
Mm-hmm.
gather information, and we started back out one night, and the Betty bomber come over and dropped her egg right beside the ship and busted open a seam and took on water. You could about rail loaded the lifeboats on the back, and you could still about dip up water from the deck.
Oh, mercy.
But I was on that. Well, we was there till got the ship far enough along where we could get where the water's shallow enough we could wade in.
Mm-hmm.
And went in there, and we was there I don't know how long
Mm-hmm.
we was there, but I bogged that truck down in a place. The gas tank was pushed up mud. It took a 10-ton bulldozer and a truck with a winch on it to get me out.
Mm-hmm. What weapons were you assigned to?
We had field artillery.
Okay. What kind of conditions were you in? Did you have a tent to sleep in, or did you just sleep wherever you could?
We had tents,
Mm-hmm.
pup tents.
Mm-hmm. What about the food?
Well, it was terrible in basic. But we got to in the 77th, we had good cooks there and good food.
So they kept you fed pretty good?
Yeah.
Were there any other hairy situations or close calls that you encountered besides the one you just described?
I don't guess really it was. We went out one night and I don't know how far we went, but then the little officer come back and said, I believe we've gone too far. And we turned around and come back, and this little guy from West Virginia, he fired off a few rounds to scare him more. But it was, you drive along, you see those dead Japs been there, laying there a couple of days, and they looked like swelled up, about greased. But it was, and flies, there's flies everywhere.
Oh, mercy.
You take one hand and brush your, shoo the flies off, and if you happen to get one in your food, you made you sick as a buzzard.
What, if you ate the fly?
Yeah, and didn't know it.
How did you handle being away from your home and family?
Well, it was nothing I could do about it. Just done the best I could.
Did faith play a part in your time while you were gone?
Well, I don't know. Just done the best I could.
What did you do for fun during your leave time?
Well, when I was in the States, especially in the desert, about every other week I'd take a load into Phoenix and the soldiers and let them visit. And then once in a while I'd go to Yuma. It's 125 miles to Phoenix and 100 miles to Yuma. But while we was there, we maneuvered over in California and Colorado.
So you were able to see a lot of the United States while you were training and getting ready to go to war, right?
Yeah.
Did you receive... I'm sorry.
We went from Hyder, Arizona to Camp Pickett, Virginia. And it was about to freeze to death. We went out there in April, I believe, and it's October we come back to Camp Pickett. From there we went to Camp Bradford and took amphibious training, and went up in Virginia, taking training, and went to West Virginia taking mountain training, and went to Bradford. I don't remember if I mentioned it, for amphibious training, and went down to Butner for artillery training, and was there till April, and went to California then I forget, the little town is 75 miles from San Francisco.
Mm-hmm.
We got on a ferry boat there, and went down to San Francisco, and then when we went from there, we went to Honolulu.
Mm-hmm.
But one of the guys is called him Preacher Martin from South Carolina. He decided he wanted one of his gold tooth from a dead Jap, so he gouged it out, and it was down his throat, and the further he reached for it, the further it went.
Oh, mercy.
So he's seen that all night long.
Did he get the tooth?
No, he didn't get the tooth.
Did you receive any medals or awards for your time in the military?
Yes. I've got them there, and
So you'll show me the awards and tell me what they were for?
yeah.
Okay. And I know that you do have some photos and those kinds of things of you when you were in uniform, and we're gonna see those in a minute. What's your occupation been since you left the military?
Well, I've ordered socks for a little while, from 46 to 51, I reckon. And then I worked there full shift and half a shift in the machine shop. And then 3 or 4 months I went to the machine shop altogether. I worked there for 23 and a half years. And then I moved from there to Whiteside Machine, and I worked there for 36 years.
Oh, mercy.
So that's why 56 years in machine shop, what didn't do my hearing any good.
So you had a long career, huh?
Yeah. Well, I worked till 2009 when they run out of anything for me to do.
Uh-huh. Well, congratulations. Were any of your family members or ancestors in the service besides your brother that you were telling us about?
Yeah. There was 4 of us brothers in there at one time, and
Oh, mercy.
3 brother-in-laws.
Mm-hmm. So was your one brother the only one that didn't make it back home?
Yeah.
What did your mom think about everybody being gone at the same time?
She was a nervous wreck.
I'm sure she was. Do you have any children, grandchildren? I know your wife, Fleta, has passed away, but do you have any children or grandchildren?
Had one son. He had 2 daughters. And one of them's married and the other's not. And he's got a great-grandson and a great-granddaughter.
Are you active in any veteran service organizations in the county?
Well, not actively, but I joined the Post 48 in Hickory. I'm a lifetime member there, but I don't go to none of the meetings.
What would you say to the young folks today about joining the military?
Yeah, I don't know what about it. Some do and some don't.
Would you recommend it?
Not really.
Okay. Do you have anything else you want to share with us today?
Well, that's about all I can think of for now.
Well, Eugene, I want to thank you for talking to us, and I want to thank you for your service.
Yeah. Well, you're welcome.
Eugene, I see here that you have a map of where you served when you were stateside. Can you tell a little bit about that?
Well, it don't show Fort Bragg on there, but I took my basic Fort Bragg and then come down to Fort Jackson. And after there 2 weeks, well, I took a test, and then they give me a truck to drive, and I'd go to the officers' quarters and pick them up for reveille, take them back, and then pick them up again in the evening for retreat. And then I hauled the food and garbage and whatever it was to haul.
So during your training, you were just all over the United States, right?
Yeah. We went from to Fort Sill, Oklahoma, and then back to Fort Jackson. Was there when my brother come in. And we left from there to Louisiana in the desert. And from there we went to Hyder, Arizona. And was there 3 months, and some of the boys, when we took them into Phoenix, they didn't make their ride back home, and they held up the train. And then we had to stay there 3 more months.
Right.
And we went from there, we went the northern route, out Chicago and down to Camp Pickett. And then we trained from Camp Pickett to the mountains in Virginia, and then to mountain training in West Virginia. We had to fix our trucks where we could drive underwater with them. And we took their training there, and we went down to Butner, took artillery training, and then after we got done with that training, we went to California. And when we went overseas from there.
Okay, and this is the map where you went overseas, right?
Yeah.
You have to turn it upside. There we go. So you started in California over here, and you went all the way to Hawaii, and then tell about that route.
So we went to Guam, and after the island was secured at Guam, we started to New Caledonia. But then the 81st Division got sick, and we had to turn around and go to Leyte. And we was there a few days and got ready December the 7th of 707.
Mm-hmm.
We 77th Division made a beachhead in Ormoc Valley.
Mm-hmm.
It was a big horseshoe-like mountain, and our troops couldn't get over that.
Uh-huh.
And so we went in and made a beachhead.
Mm-hmm.
Went in those Army ducks, and because they could run on water or sea.
Right.
And they said go this light as you can, so your stuff will be up to you in a couple of days.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we went with just what we had on, mainly. And the 28th of December, our stuff got up to us.
Oh, mercy.
We'd take a bath. We had to wash with our clothes on us in the river.
Mm-hmm.
But after a while, I'd come across one of their motor pools, and I went stupid like and got in one of the trucks and cranked it up. It happened it wasn't booby trap.
Mm-hmm.
And we drove that truck for the rest of the time I was there.
Mm-hmm. Okay, and now you have some pictures of you in uniform and just different things?
Yeah. That's Fort Sill, Oklahoma.
Mm-hmm. Can you get that child? Okay. You look like you're on the side of a mountain.
It was a river,
Oh,
and there's a
okay.
cliff like.
Uh-huh. Okay.
And there's I got one without just me, but it's hiding from me. I can't find it.
Okay. So this is a picture of you and your wife?
Yeah.
Okay.
There's a picture of me.
Okay.
That's my brother Leonard.
Oh, okay.
He was in France.
Mm-hmm.
Well, this is the same picture.
Okay.
There's my brother that got killed in Italy.
Oh, okay.
And there's my younger brother that went in
Mm-hmm.
In 1953, I believe it was.
Uh-huh.
See, he had quit school for 3 years and went back, and as soon as they were going to draft him, but they let him finish school,
Uh-huh.
and he went in and graduated.
Good for
He
him.
lives in Nashville.
Mm-hmm.
That was a picture on the truck.
Okay.
There was one of the,
Now, is that you by one of the cannons?
yeah, I think so. There's another one on the route. Yeah, that's another one. Same thing.
Mm-hmm.
And there was one of the bathrooms. in
Are
the
these
desert.
are these toilets out
Yeah.
in the open?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Who are all these ladies?
Well, that's the sister, and that's the cousin, and that's the cousin. The others, I was at home for the birthday dinner at my grandpa's, and I was somebody then because there was no other soldier.
Right. So they all wanted their picture made with a soldier.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's another just of me.
Okay.
That's a picture of me in the truck that I drove. There's the full picture of the truck.
Did you like driving those big trucks?
Yeah, I reckon I did. And that's me and Arlie Bowman and John Benfield left when I did.
Were they all from Taylorsville?
Yeah, Alexander County.
And that's your brother that was killed?
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's another same picture. It was there.
Okay.
Yeah, that and this is the same thing, just taken at different places.
Right. Okay.
Here's my shot record. The Bethlehem Star had in
2006?
Yeah. There's me and three brothers living, and that's brother-in-law, Gladeal. I don't guess it didn't use me bringing this, but I brought it.
Sure.
There's my.
Do you remember what these ribbons were for?
It tells in that book. One's some theater, I forget what, and it's anyhow it's concerning the service.
Right. Okay, very good.
There's some of the money that we was paid with.
So they paid you with Japanese money?
Mm-hmm.
Very interesting.
Separation papers.
And your DD 214.
I was in 46 months and 16 days.
Mm-hmm.
There's a cemetery where my brother's buried.
Oh, okay. And then that tells about your brother that died.
Mm-hmm.
Very good.
There's my pay record.
I've never seen one of these. Oops. I better leave it alone and we'll tear it all to pieces. And there's all three of you that were serving.
That's the one that got killed.
Uh-huh.
Well, I had a younger brother that lied about his age and went in the Navy.
Oh. Very interesting. Thank you so much.